Sabres back in the win column, and it stunned me that they got back in the win column. Recapping Sabres and Penguins next here on the Locked On Sabres podcast.
Your Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Sabres your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your purchase. Anybody else surprised? Because I know I am. After two periods of play, it was 2-0. Penguins over the Sabres. The Sabres had lost to this team 4-0 just over a week ago. This team has not been scoring a lot of goals, not looking very dangerous, and you would have been completely in the right to not think they were erasing a 2-goal deficit against the Pittsburgh Penguins. But they did it. They did it. A 3-2 final score. The Sabres beat the Pens in a pretty eventful game when you really look back on all that happened. And we'll go through some of the stats. We'll go through my stars of the game. We have an injury update to get to, which is probably going to lead to a call-up from the Rochester Americans. I want to discuss that ahead of Saturday's game in New Jersey. If you want to check us out on Subtext, our text line, go to joinsubtext.com/Locked On Sabres, become a sortie. Our group chat was really fun tonight. We had a lot of good feedback from fans and listeners back and forth. I got into it with a couple of fans on Victor Olofsson and how well he's playing right now. I don't really actually think he's playing that well, but he has 4 assists in his last 2 games. So at the very least, he is starting to contribute to the stat sheet, which is good for Olofsson. And he had to play a little bit more in this game because Sabres lost a forward in Zemgus Girgensons. Again, a little bit more of an update on him coming up in a little bit. But going through some of the stats of this game, the Sabres win over Pittsburgh in a game that was kind of full with Penguins fans in the arena, but, you kind of expect that at this point in time. Kind of interesting that Alex Tuch kind of took a little bit of a shot at Sabre ticket prices and the TNT post-game interview, which I thought was actually kind of funny and kind of cool by Tuch. Tuch, of course, scoring the game-winning goal with under 3 minutes to go in this one. A 3-2 final, shots on goal. The Sabres outshooting Pittsburgh in this one, 34-33. They scored on the power play, went 1 for 4. The Penguins went 0 for 2. Scoring chances at 5-on-5. Favor of Pittsburgh, 27-22, but shot attempts were in favor of Buffalo, 54-46. Expected goals and for in this game in all situations, 4.1 for the Sabres and 3.0 for the Penguins. If you are someone that takes a look at goals saved above expected pretty much every day like I do to see how different goalies are playing in the NHL, and I think that's the best number to kind of judge it. That's pretty simple math there. 3 goals were expected by the Penguins in this game, and they scored 2, which means Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has got another goal below expected that he's going to add, or above expected save that he's going to add to his resume on the season. Luukkonen continues to play very well. The Sabres, though, in this game, I mean, I didn't think they really played that poorly at any point in time, but it just, that's not totally true. I didn't think they were that dangerous in the first and second. I thought it was same old, same old. I mean, I tweeted out, if you're a Bills fan, completely within the right, I thought. Last year's Sabres, Brian Dable. This year's Sabres, Ken Dorsey. And put the pictures back to back next to each other. And I felt that. The Sabres do not look nearly as dangerous as they did last season. So where's that hockey team? Where is that hockey team that was top 5 in the league in goals last season, that had multiple players, tons of players setting career highs, and none of that was really happening so far this year? Crosby in the first period makes it 1-0 Penguins with under 4 minutes to play. And you know what? Then Lars Eller makes it 2-0 in the second period. The first 2 goals this game, both by Pittsburgh, were at the hands of the Sabres' top 2 defensemen in terms of minutes, in terms of the top pair. Goal number 1, Sidney Crosby. It is a complete fail by Mattias Samuelsson to get the puck out of the zone. Puts it up the wall. It doesn't get even close to going out. And Crosby gets a one-timer from the high slot. In range where Luukkonen probably should have made the save, but that goal is much more on Samuelsson, if you ask me. And then goal number 2, almost the exact same marker, under 4 minutes to go in the second period. I mean, Dahlin just whiffs, right? Like whiffs on the puck, and it goes out to Matt Nieto, who finds Lars Eller in the slot, and he roofs it over Luukkonen's shoulder. So both goals, I mean, maybe Luukkonen could have made the save on them, and once in a while you'd like him to save shots like that, and he does this year once in a while. But those goals were on the Sabres' top 2 defensemen. And then the third period, they made up for it in a big way. A nice power play goal where Victor Olofsson is playing that right wall on the number 1 unit. And I've said repeatedly, if he's not giving them something on the power play, the guy shouldn't be in the lineup. But he does a nice job moving down and then up the wall to free up some space, finds Alex Tuch down low. He gets to Jeff Skinner, does that little movement with his skates so that he can get himself in range, and he puts it over the shoulder of Alex Nedeljkovic, the Penguins goaltender. That made it 2-1. Kyle Okposo, man, if you my same game parlay twice this week where I have hit on the anytime goal scorer. I had Benson on Wednesday. I had Okposo tonight, but I just barely missed on something else. It was Peterka shots on Wednesday. Tonight, Peterka got to 3 shots, so I hit on that part of the parlay. But hey, I'll take it. I'll take it on the chin for betting against the Sabres because I had the Penguins winning by 1.5 goals or more in this game. That did not happen. I did not win my parlay. That's okay because the 2 legs that hit were the good legs, and the leg that didn't hit was the one where the Penguins win, and nobody wants that. It's just what I thought was going to happen. Was wrong, and that's fine. That's good. So Okposo, anyways, I had Okposo to score. I just felt like Okposo's been playing well. I thought Okposo's been getting some more chances as of late, and honestly, in this game, he had more chances than any game before. I mean, the first period, he comes out, he hits a post, he has another redirection in front of the net that almost went in. He had another good chance in the second period. It's kind of funny. I thought Okposo played well. For all the chances he had, the goal that he scored was the one that it was just like, I'm just going to throw us to the front of the net. And he got lucky that Erik Karlsson put it into his own net. So that was his first goal of the year, by the way. So a little bit of a monkey off his back and hope that he could start to chip him in once in a while here. And then the game winner, under 3 minutes to play, Jeff Skinner fighting off Chris Letang behind the net, and he throws it out in front to Alex Tuch, who puts it in. A tough goal by him because there wasn't a lot of space there. He didn't get all of it. That might have helped him actually get it past the goaltender. So Skinner and Middlestat with the A's on that one, Tuch with the goal. And then the other thing that happened in the game was the whole Peyton Krebs, Chris Letang thing that happened. I will get to that when we come back. I got some words on that. When we come back on the Locked On Sabres podcast, we are presented by BetterHelp. If you've benefited from therapy, then you know all the value that it can give you. This time of year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it, but adding something new to your life can counteract some of those feelings. Therapy could be a bright spot amid all the stress and change, something to look forward to make you feel grounded and to give you the tools to manage everything going on. If you're thinking about starting fantasy or about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNHL today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNHL. Back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast, thanks for making us your first listen every day. The Sabres win 3-2 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mentioned the Peyton Krebs, Chris Letang situation. What a joke. The Penguins, man. I've never liked the Penguins. They have always drove me nuts. And it starts with the captain. It starts with Crosby. I think the whole team kind of takes on his persona. where if you breathe on a Pittsburgh Penguin, the Penguins are right there to let you know about it, to be all flabbergasted about it, cry to the ref about it, Crosby at the end of the game. I mean, the guy, it's not even a false narrative. It's his whole career. And they're so sensitive about any little hit. I mean, in the I don't even remember who the hit was, but Riley Smith takes a penalty in the second period on a perfectly clean hit. Nothing wrong with it, but if you hit a Pittsburgh Penguin, they're coming after you because that's the Penguins. And then in the third period, or in the second period also, Peyton Krebs and Chris Letang get into it. That stems from a preseason hit. We're talking, and by the way, watch the hit from the preseason. Krebs, it's not even that vicious a hit. It's not even that hard of a hit. He just caught Letang. That's it. Letang's been carrying that around for 2 months. So, first chance to get after Peyton Krebs. The guy flies in from the blue line to go after Krebs, who's a lot smaller than him, which that part of it I don't care about because Krebs is tough for his size. And then while Krebs is on the ice, he's throwing punches like the softest team ever. And Letang was the poster child for that in this game. Holy cow with that guy. I was very glad to see that he was on the ice and a culprit on 2 of the 3 goals in the third period that the Sabres scored. Because, man, again, high level of sensitivity when it comes to Chris Letang and that Penguins team. Learn to take a hit, if you will. New strategy when you play the Penguins. Just hit them hard. Hit them hard, and they'll take penalties, and then you're going to go to the power play. That happened, again, in this game, where Riley Smith, for no reason, that wasn't a good hit. It was clean, and it wasn't even that hard or vicious, but, we touched the Penguin. You could tell the Penguins, I can't stand the Penguins. Never have been able to stand the Penguins. I'm glad to see they're finally hitting the nosedive here. 9-10. They're below the Sabres in the standings now. And they're old. So this is it. Hopefully. This is it for the Penguins. Sneaky stars of the game. In my opinion, the 3 best players of this game. I want to start with Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner is one of the most consistent Sabres on the year this year when it comes to creating scoring chances, when it comes to scoring goals. It shouldn't be that big of a surprise. I mean, the guy has the best offensive resume of anybody on the team, given that it's, over a decade long now that he's been this player, save the Ralph Kruger seasons. So Skinner, again, the pass to Tuch from behind the net, he stuck with it. He muscled off. That was Letang draped all over him. Letang couldn't get the puck from him. Skinner got it out in front. Nice play there. And a good finish on the goal that Tuch set him up for on the power play. Tuch is another one of our sneaky stars on the night. He gets a goal and an assist, including the game winner. And this comes, 1 day, 2 days after I said he was the number 2 Sabre that they needed more out of, that needed to step up. Him and Dylan Cousins, to me, have fallen well short of expectations. Good to see Tuch get on the scoreboard with a goal and an assist in this one. And then, my third sneaky star, in no particular order for this game, is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Luukkonen was really solid. The only 2 goals he let in, I don't think were his fault at all. He made a couple of odd man rush saves, a breakaway save. I thought Luukkonen was super sharp, and he continues to look like, and it's not even close, to look like the number 1 goalie on this team. He has been their best goalie all year, in my opinion, and I would keep rolling him out there. Would I roll him out there 2 days in a row? That I might question, but I wouldn't be totally against it. If I were Granato, I might go to Luukkonen tomorrow morning and say, hey, how fresh are you? And think about putting Luukkonen in back-to-back nights. In reality, I think Levi's probably more likely, but more on Sabres and Devils when we come back, including an injured forward for the Sabres and who might be on the way to getting called up. That's coming up here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. We are presented here on the Locked On Sabres podcast by Game Time. Game Time, you could have been in the arena tonight. Don't miss the next one. You can see views from your seat before you buy them. You know exactly where you're going to sit with Game Time. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, including hockey games, sporting events, football games. Lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and plenty more. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the best place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Stevie Joe DiBiase back here in the Locked On Sabres podcast. Sabres and Devils coming your way on Saturday night. Before we take a look at an injury and what the lineup might look like for the Devils game, I think you could have a massive change and a huge call-up coming from Rochester. The Sabres improved to 9-9-2 on the season. That is good for 20 points in 20 games, which is definitely below the pace they'll need to make the playoffs. 82 points is not getting you in any year. They are 1 point behind the Flyers, 1 point behind the Islanders, 3 points behind Detroit and Tampa for playoff spots. Detroit has won 2 in a row since I said that they were dead. So, of course, Tampa got a point in overtime in their game on Friday night. So 3 points back. You're hanging around. Somebody's going to go on a win streak. Why not the Sabres? They're also 3 points behind Toronto for a division spot, but I'm not really still thinking that that's all that likely at all. Pittsburgh drops. They go to 18 points, fourth from the bottom. What's funny is I'm looking at the standings. Saturday's opponent for the Sabres in New Jersey. By the way, nice little road trip here maybe. If you still time, you want to go to the Bills-Eagles game on Sunday, head over to Sabres and Devils on Saturday. It's only like a 40-minute drive between the two stadiums, not too far away from each other. The Devils have lost 3 in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 10, and they are third last in the East. And it's a lot to do because of all the injuries that they have dealt with, including injury to their best player by far, a Mr. Jack Hughes. But Jack Hughes is now back in the lineup, so he will be playing against the Sabres. Who are they still missing, though? Nico Hischier and Timo Meier, 2 of maybe their second and third best forwards. Meier is day-to-day, so he might be good for the Sabre game. Meanwhile, Hischier will not be playing in that game. So you got the Devils, a team that has been struggling a lot lately. So we'll see what we get from their lineup. For the Sabres, Zemgus Girgensons left this game against the Penguins early with a lower body injury. He did not return. Don Granato said after the game it is likely they are going to have to call up a forward from Rochester. Well, pretty easy, in my opinion, who they should be calling up. They should be calling up Jiri Kulich. Now, Isaac Rosén has also been playing really well. Former first-round pick of the Sabres, 14th overall a couple years ago. He's got a point per game. And actually, on Friday night here, he scored his 8th goal of the season to win it in overtime. So he's got points in 12 of 16 games this year. Kulich had a pair of assists. He's got 11 goals and 6 assists on the season as well. So both players have been great. I just think Kulich's been a little bit ahead of Rosén in his development. He's more of a goal scorer, which I think the Sabres need. I think he can help on the power play more because of the skill set. Rosén's a playmaker, and that's fine. I might want to get a look at him. I'd love to call both up, honestly. But they insist on playing Olofsson all the time, and they insist on keeping Okposo at a nice night. It's not the day to make that point. But I would like to call both up, is all I mean to say. Kulich would be the one, though, I would prefer. And I might want to guess he's the guy they call up. And maybe I want to guess he makes his NHL debut on Saturday. We'll see, because Jordan Greenway did not play in this game on Friday, which meant the Sabres ended up going back to 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. But they got to get away from that. They got to get away from that. So, hopefully Kulich, maybe Rosén. Either one would be nice. I hope it's not Brandon Byro. Nothing against Brandon Byro. But I'm ready to start seeing these kids that are lighting it up down there and seeing if they're NHL ready. Because far too many times on past Sabre teams with past regimes, they let an Amherst sit down in Rochester for half a season more or a full season more than he needed to be down there. Olofsson was this name, actually, by the way, way back when, where he had a great season in Rochester, and he could have been with Buffalo the whole time. He never developed anything. He was still a great shot, and that was it. So, anyways, Kulich would be the guy I'd call up, and I would, if he plays well, I would just keep him here the rest of the year, and I would be very open-minded to that happening. So, yeah, Kulich, we'll see. 7 o'clock on Saturday. Thanks everybody for listening to today's show. Hope you enjoyed Sabres and Penguins, and hope we get another win. They got to get some wins together here. They got to get a win streak going. I'm not going to try my parlay because I gotta take a break here. The best betting advice is when you're not loving any bets, take a break. So I'm going to take a break from the parlay. Until tomorrow, at least, check Locked On Sabres on Twitter. Maybe I've changed my mind. Reminder again, if you want to join our text line before Saturday's game, you want to jump in with us. I converse back and forth with you all the time. Fans are going back and forth. And we got breaking news alerts as well, lineup news before it happens, practice updates. So it's our own text line, and it's a lot of fun so far through the first couple of days of it. Join subtext.com/LockedOnSabres if you want to get involved. Cost a cup, same as a cup of coffee per month. I think that's generally the example people use, right? Cup of coffee per month. That's pretty much it. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. And this has been the Locked On Sabres podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.